Hi there. Well, as mentioned on the last vlog, we'll continue with possibly the most epic vlog I'll put on this channel, which is me going to meet Keith Moon. Now, we'll start where we left off, which was I'd met Big Jury in the flat at 18 Earlsfield Road, and we proceeded in the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band's Humber Hawk, as pre-mentioned, and we went down to Fulham and we picked up Vivian Stanshall, the lead vocalist from the Bonzo, who I later found out was a very good friend of Keith Moon's, and it was in fact him, as previously mentioned, that told me we were going to Keith Moon's house. Well, eventually we came up this driveway and Vivian said, "Oh, Michael, by the way, this isn't Keith's house. Keith's house is currently getting refurbished, and Ollie's kindly allowed him to stay here for whatever period of time it is." And I said, "Ollie?" He said, "Yes, his partner in crime, Oliver Reed." I thought, oh my God. But anyway, yes, he was indeed his partner in crime and his best friend as well. And as we entered into the hallway of Broom Hall, there was quite a lot of guests, musos, thespians, too many to mention. I did pick out Steve McQueen was there, and various other famous actors and musicians. Eric Clapton was there, and there in the corner, slumped down against the wall on the floor, was both Oliver Reed and Keith Moon. And Vivian took me over and introduced me to Keith, and he said, "Oh, hello, Keith." He said, "This is a friend of mine, this is Michael. He's an up-and-coming percussionist like yourself." To which Keith Moon said, "So fucking what?" Which Michael felt a little bit deflated over, because obviously I looked at Keith Moon as sort of an icon, a hero in rock drumming. But anyway, we wandered off and mingled, and I met one or two people through Vivian and Big Jury, had a few drinks, and then after about half an hour Keith Moon came over to me and he said, in his very strange, bizarre way, "So, you like playing the skins, do you, my son?" He said, "Well, go to the top of the house and you enjoy yourself, and if I can remember, I shall come up and see what you can do." So, what did Michael do? Well, Michael went up to the top of the house, up this big staircase, and when he got to the top landing, he was confronted by two doors. So I opened the first door, put the light on, and I was confronted by a theatrical wardrobe department, which I didn't find out till later that apparently Keith, whatever time of day he used to get up, he would go into that wardrobe department and put on a period costume. Whatever period that costume depict, he would play a major character. And for example, he'd dress up as Adolf Hitler, or he'd dress up as Rommel. Anyway, Michael thought, well, what's all this about? So I decided to flick the switch off, close the door, and open the next door, which I did do. And then, after switching the light on, it was quite a large room this. I was confronted by 13 drum kits, all with the bass drums facing the walls, and inside of the bass drum and the snare drum was a small railway track that went right round the kit, and on that track was an electric drum seat, which, having finally found the switch, proceeded to go around each individual drum kit, and obviously flicking the switch when I stopped at the appropriate drum kit I wanted to play. All these drum kits were from various drum companies like Ludwig, Slingerland, Gretsch, Sonner, and of course the main one, which Keith, it was his main kit, was Premier. And I would think the bill for Premier supplying Keith Moon was quite horrific, because majority of the time Keith would wreck these Premier kits. He was noted for it. And anyway, Michael proceeded to have a little bit rat-a-tat-tat and round the kits and that, and then after about half an hour the door burst open, and stood in the doorway with a bottle of Jack in his right hand, leaning against the door pillar, Mr. Moon. And as he lifted his bottle up, he said, "Ah, my son, show me what you can do." So Michael said, "All right, yeah, rat-a-tat-tat, tat-tat, boom, boom, bang, bang." No, said Mooney. He said, "Move over, Rover. Let Keefy take over." And he sort of semi-pushed me off the drum seat, climbed on it himself, and he said, "Now watch this, my son. Watch this." And he proceeded to have a bit of a drum solo, and then immediately destroyed the kit, demolished it. And he turned round and he said, "Adrenaline, my son. It's all about adrenaline." And that was my first and only lesson from the legendary Keith Moon. And on the way home, eventually around about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, I remember it was late, and Vivian said to me, "Well, Michael, and did you enjoy yourself in Keith's toy room?" "Oh," I said, "is that what he calls it?" He says, "Oh, yes, yes." And I said, "And the theatrical wardrobe?" I said, "What's that all about?" He says, "Well, actually, Keith would dress up, for example, as Adolf Hitler. He would go down on a morning and he would smack his wife Kim across the face with his leather gloves and say, 'If you do not cook my breakfast, you will be shot.'" But that was Keith Moon. Very bizarre man. But Vivian did say, "But what did you learn, Michael? What did you learn in the toy room?" I said, "Vivian, I certainly learnt how to demolish a drum kit." And we'll see you on the next vlog. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye.